Alright, welcome back. Here we are. Today, if you haven't guessed, we are going to be painting some vegetables. We got some kind of red skin potatoes here, zucchini, I don't know, some other kind of squash or zucchini or something. We're going to put them together in a nice little formation like I had it, and we're going to try and paint. Stay. Alright, I'm just going to slide these off to the side. I have previously drawn a picture of them. Let me put it over here. I've got my paints here, my sponge to dab off a little bit, get some excess water off of what I'm going to do, and we're set to go. Alright, so what I'm going to start with, some nice yellow. I think this is lemon yellow. And I'm going to paint this guy, my lemon thing, gourd, zucchini, squash, something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. That's okay, we're going to paint it up. Alright, I'm looking to get some color on here pretty quickly. It's warm where I am and pretty dry. I don't want paint to dry while I'm doing this. I'm going to move from this bright yellow, this lemon yellow, to kind of a more of a medium yellow. I don't know exactly what the name of this yellow is, but I kind of want a range of yellows on this one. I'm going to kind of be a little careful and get into some of these corners right around that potato in the front. But I'm not going to worry too much about it, and I want some of this, I don't know what that is, raw sienna. I want some of that in here. That's going to be good. I'm going to mix that in and around. I want some more of this in the sides where my shadows are going to be. That is going to lighten up, but I want some in there. I want that to kind of be part of my shadow. I don't want to have to go back in and put a shadow in necessarily. So I'd like for that to serve as at least part of that shadow. Okay, that's good. It looks like it's a little watery. I don't want to do too much with it quite yet. We're going to come back and put a little bit on it in a minute. I'm going to paint my zucchini. Now, it's got kind of a pale yellowish undertone to it. I'm going to mix a really kind of a pale, well, that might be a little red, I don't know. Kind of a pale-ish color here, real watery, real diluted. I don't mean watery, real diluted. Paint it up and around because I'm going to paint green over top of that, and I want in some places for that yellow to shine through. We have plenty of yellow, plenty of undercolor, I guess I should call it, underneath here, and then green on top of it. And I kind of want to try to replicate that if I can. If I can't, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to make a close approximation, and we'll go with it. But I think we'll be able to do pretty good with it. Okay, I'm looking. This still looks a little bit wet to me, but our green looks good here. I know this is sap green, and this is olive green here. I've got these two. I don't like sap green really in its original color. It's a little bright for me. So I'm going to mix that. Maybe I'll tone it down just ever so slightly. That's a good color. And I'm going to come in here. Whoa! Way too wet. That's alright. That's alright. I'm going to put, I guess I'm going to take it right out of there, close to right out of there. We're just getting color. We're just putting color down here. It's out of control. I put a little color outside of my lines there. I don't like that. Alright. Really wet here. I didn't want it quite this wet. Sometimes I get a little carried away with the water. But you're going to see it won't really matter. We're going to finish this up. It's going to look great regardless of how much water's on it. I'm sorry, let me turn that around so you can see that. I'm going to put And just like with this squash, I want to make this inside here a little greener and a little less yellow. And that will kind of make it like it's a little shadow in there, just a little darker. Hey, and I got a hairbrush right there, or a brush hair. How do I get that out? Come on. Oh, come on out of there. That's gonna bother me. Did I get it? I got it. Alright. We'll just water right over top of this. That won't be an issue. Pull this down, pull this around. Nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever know. Perfect. Okay, so this is just a little shiny right now. I want to... You can't really see. You can see it a little bit, but there are lines that come on this. You can just barely see them. What I want to do is try to replicate some of those lines, just kind of like this. And it's not gonna do much more than add some depth for us on here. It's not gonna make or break the painting. It's not gonna, you know, do a whole lot other than it's gonna give this shape some real roundness. And before it sits there, and it's a yellow blob with a little I don't know, brownish yellow in it. Now you look at it and it's got some lines. It actually looks like it's got a little depth. We're going to do the same thing with this guy too. Maybe get some of this olive color. My olive, come on. I need a little water in there. I don't want too much, but I want a little. Maybe this one's my olive. Oh, this one looks more like my olive color. I want that pretty thick actually. And I'm going to just follow the contour. If I don't know what the contour of it is, I'm just going to kind of make it up. But I'm going to follow the contour of this gourd. And that's going to give me a lot of definition. That's going to make this thing totally look round. I don't really want anything coming right up the middle of this, but I want all these lines just like it would be if you saw it live in person. Look, you can kind of see it's got these striations on it. It does have some marks in between them, but it's got these lines on here. That's what I want to duplicate. I'm not trying to be a realist about it here. That's not how I paint. But I do want it to get some lines. Okay, so we've got our squash, our gourd, our yellow something. Got our zucchini here. Now we've got to tackle some potatoes. Alright, so good. I'm going to get a little of my red color. I'm actually going to mix it right in the color with these the yellow from my squash here. I don't want it to be totally red. I'm going to hold this up. I don't know if you can see that. It looks pretty good. If I were to paint on top of that, I guess it would go right over top of it. Alright, I'm going to get real close. I might actually touch, I think, here that paint is probably just dry enough. It's pretty thick in there. The yellow is pretty thick in there. I'm not sure that it's going to run on us. I'm not going to sweat it too much. You'll hear me say that a lot. I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't. It's watercolors. It's fun. Let's have fun painting. People get so serious about their paintings. I'm just the opposite. I just want to look at it and paint it and have fun with it and let the paint do what it wants to do. The paint should be your friend. I have so many people tell me, I don't know how you can paint that. Watercolors are so hard to paint. You can't control anything that happens on the paper. You can't do anything. It's so tough. That's the hardest medium to paint in. And I keep saying, yeah, but it's fun. You throw some paint on the paper and it runs and it moves and it does what it wants to do, and that's totally what makes it fun. Okay, so what I've done is I've just added a little brown color. I just don't want these two potatoes to be the same color. I want them to be slightly different. That's going to help them stand out from each other. I'm just going to paint right on there. I'm sorry, I've got to turn this page, whoa, to get this color right on that line. I forgot my glasses today. The glasses are in the house. I'm out in the studio, and so having a little trouble. If you see my head pop into the picture, that's what's going on. I can't see the page of paint, and I started before I thought to go back in and get them. Alright, we got two of them done. We're looking good. This one you can see is starting to dry right around the outside here, a little bit inside there. We're going to try to put in an eye on that one. I'm going to get a little bit of this brown, a little bit of this red, a little bit of that. That looks like a good color. I just want a nice kind of a thick mix here. And we're going to put in, oh, I want a little redder than that. What are going to end up being the eyes on this potato. So you put a little dark spot in there. You can, whatever shape you want to put it in, it really doesn't matter. And when it dries, you'll see it will, well, it'll look like a potato. It'll look like a little blemish there, like a little dark spot. Not perfect, but a little spot in that potato. Alright, let me get my last potato in here. I'm going to leave this a little bit lighter, I think, or a little slightly different. And paint right over there. This looks good. Again, I apologize. I don't have my glasses on. It's hard for me to get right on that line. And you see, I'm just loading up my brush real heavy with paint, and I'm going right around there. I'm actually using the side of the brush, and it's fanning out the bristles at the end. And you can just get real close when you do that. You're coming in right from the side, and you can just get as close as you want. You can touch it if you want. You can touch that line if you want and not go over it. Super simple, super easy. And I'm okay if some of these touch. I might want just a little bit of a white line there so that you can see what's going on there. Oh, I just noticed I got a stem here I need to paint. I've got to do that. I'm just going to throw that on just like this. Perfect. Alright, good. It's a great stem. Okay, I'm going to grab a slightly larger brush. I don't know, this is number 8. I'm going to put a little background up here. This should have been dry. This all would have been dry by the time I got to this background if it hadn't been for that stem right there. And I'm just going to kind of put in a bluish background of some color. I'm going to make it really pretty watery. I want it to be really pretty diffuse back here. I do have on here, I should say, a drawing of a, I guess, kind of a checkered cloth, checkered tablecloth. I like to do this. Put in a little spot of darker color up here, and then go back to my normal color. I just, if you vary the color a little bit even, just ever so slightly, that your eye really picks that up, and it makes it such a more dynamic background. Oh, I got a little run right around that stem. I'm not going to sweat that. I kind of like having a little bit of a run there. I'm going to put some of this lighter blue, cerulean blue, I believe that is, in there in my blue mix. Yeah, see, okay, so I guess the way I've kind of done it here, by mixing this lighter blue in there, I've got lighter on this side and a little bit darker on that side. That's totally fine with me. I'm actually going to put in a little extra dab of this blue right in through here. I want this color to come out a little bit. It's a little purpler on this side, or a little more ultramarine. I'm totally fine with that. I'm going to blot this off. If I don't, that's going to run back. While I don't mind runs, if I'm flipping the paper back and forth, I don't want it, because it's going to, I don't know, it could go all over the place. Okay, so I said I had a checker tablecloth up here. Oh no! Before I do anything, I got to put in some eyes on my potatoes here, don't I? There's one. Nobody told me you need to put an eye on that potato. Okay, that's good enough. We'll call that good. You can see that looks like a little darker spot there. And I guess I don't need to turn this around. Not sure why I did that. I'm just using a flat brush, and I'm just going to make some checker marks. These are, I don't know, 1.5, 2 checks wide, something like that. Maybe not even. And if you go outside of the square a little bit, you know what? Nobody's going to worry about it. It's your painting. It's going to happen how you like it to. Go down. If you're like me, you see it, you paint it. Little things happen, not worth worrying about. It's all going to work out in the end, because when you look at this, your eye's going to go there and you're going to go, wow, that's some vegetables. And you're not even going to see whether this tablecloth is exactly right or not. It's just not a big deal. It's just here to add some interest, some serious interest to what we're painting. I'm going to mix a little bit of red, the red's in here. I'm going to real quickly go across here. And let's see if I can get into that. I'm going to use the side of my brush here a little bit. Alright, good. Perfect. Alright, we're doing great. I don't know how we're doing for time, but it doesn't matter. We're having a good time. Our painting is looking great. Doing everything we need to do for some terrific artwork here. Let's see. Well, that's a little off the side. That's a little bigger size. That's the other thing I don't worry about. The size of this isn't quite right, but it doesn't matter. Again, it's just, there we go. We got a little color on the front, we got a little color on the back. We're looking good so far. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause the recording for a minute. I gotta let this totally dry. We need this bone dry. We're gonna come back, we're gonna put a little shadowing on this, and it's gonna look great when we're done. All right, I'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back. Painting is totally dry, ready to go. All we need to do is put in a little bit of shadowing, darken it up a little bit, and we're going to have a great painting. What I'm going to do, whoa, I got a little run in here. What I'm going to do is start with this yellow. Actually, the yellow, I actually think we got pretty good at our first go around. It's really nice and dark down here. It's dark back there. It's lighter up at the top. I'm going to kind of leave it alone. I'm going to go with this zucchini here. And what I want to do is darken it up down here and where it goes behind that potato. So give me a little color here. This olive color, I really like that. Okay, let's see what we got. Take a little bit of this, and again I'm going to go right with it, and right with the roundness of this. I want everybody who looks at this to know that this is a round object. So we're darkening more out towards the edges and a little less towards the middle. Right, maybe just a touch on the outside. Okay, and then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to blend that in a little bit. Right, nice and smooth. You're looking at a round object. It typically doesn't have a hard edge where the shadow line is. It's a kind of a rounder edge. Of course, our object isn't perfectly round. It doesn't have to be exactly right, so we're not going to sweat it. Oh, I am going to do this. Watch this. A little of this, a little of this. Maybe for this one, a little bit more of this dark reddish color. I know that we've got a little button on the end here, and we've got one on here too, and maybe just a couple of lines here. Maybe if we can get that to kind of blend together, that'd be perfect. Oh, that looks really good. I like that. Okay, we need to put just ever so slightly a bit of shadow on the outside of this too. You don't always think about that, but as it gets rounder, that bit that goes around the outside really does have a little bit of a shadow on it. So we're going to do the same thing with that, and we're going to hope to get that really dark right on the outside. And then we're going to blend it in on the inside. So we're just going to get that hard edge. There we go. So that's done. Get that color off of here. We're going to get back to some of this reddish color we had before, which was this red. Some of this, a little bit of yellow here. It's not exactly going to matter. I just want to make sure we got something close. I think that's pretty close. It's a little darker anyway. I know that this is opaque, so it's not going to let the light through quite as much anyways. Alright, and we're going to go right along. I'm going to start with this one because this edges of this one are still wet, and if we happen to touch that, I don't think that'll be real great. So I'm going to make it real dark right along the bottom of this potato. Really nice and good and dark down there. That's going to come up to about here. Ah, I got another hair in there. What's going on? This is a Winsor & Newton Sable, pure Sable brush. I'm losing hairs left and right. I don't like that. Alright. We're going to get out of there. That's going to bother me. That's going to give us our roundness on this potato. You're going to look at that and go, that's, you know what, I'm going to push that back a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's better. Good, 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 good. Alright, I like that. I got a little, looks a little pinkish for me though. I'm going to try and tone that down just a little bit. That's probably better. I'm going to give it to this one a little bit. Real dark right down at the edge. And when I paint, I don't like to do more than 2 coats. Sometimes I'll do 3 coats of paint, but I don't like it. I want the colors to shine through. I want to do as much work as I can on that first coat. I want that first one to be really good. How did you see what I did? I'm doing this upside down, and I just barely touched that white. I know that that will shine through. All right, good, good, good. And now I got one potato in the back to do. Right in the bottom of the trough there, between the two. Gonna go in, and that's gonna make a shadow on our potato. Fantastic. And now, just like I did with the zucchini, I'm gonna take, whoop, I don't want that color. That was a mistake. I'm gonna take just a bit of color. I'm gonna run it right along the top here. And I guess it doesn't matter if it goes the entire length of the top, because we can pull it out like that a little bit. But just, if you give it just that little bit right there, that's gonna mean there's gonna be that big light spot right in the middle. Your lightest values will be right in the middle, and it's gonna look a lot more 3D, a lot more 3D. So I'm going to go right along here, right? Take most of the water off my brush. I don't want a lot of water on, I just need enough to spread that out. There you go, and when you look at that, now it's going to look like that potato is 3D, and I don't want to come all the way down here because I like to have lights against darks, light colors against dark colors. I don't want darks against darks. So for me, I'm going to stop. I'm not taking that 3D effect all the way around the top of that potato because I've got dark on the potato behind it back there, and I don't want put dark against dark. Alright, there we go. We've got zucchini, squash, a couple of potatoes. They've got some eyes in them right there. And I think I can't stop myself. I should call it good right now, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put a little shadow on here. We're gonna make a really thin purplish reddish wash here, and we got to decide which way our shadow's going, kind of over this way a little bit. So I'm going to put that wash right over here. Now this one has got to totally touch that potato. It's got to touch whatever fruit you're getting the shadow from, because shadows don't just start out in the middle of nowhere. And let me pull that way up in there, that shadow. The thing I don't like to do, I started doing this when I started painting watercolor, and I don't know why I ever started to do this, and I had a hard time because I couldn't understand why it wasn't working out, why things didn't look quite right. But you cannot put a shadow on whatever you're painting. So in this case, we're painting some fruit, vegetables, I'm sorry, some vegetables. Our shadow can't be on the vegetables. We got to darken the vegetables with the color that we're using. Right, so the red potatoes get darkened with red, the zucchini gets darkened with green, but everything else gets darkened with a shadow color. Alright, there we go. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to sign this one. We're going to call it done. Let me turn this around, put my name on here. There it is. We've got some garden fresh vegetables, squash, zucchini, potatoes, all ready to go. Beautiful picture. Thanks for watching.